Richician.
Hello and welcome to part 3 of the top 60 favourite deck list of all time. Let's continue. So we're now counting down 40 to 31. So in at number 40 is GAGA, because of its amazing ability to be able to go into pretty much any Xyz monster I want, with GAGA Magician, GAGA Girl and GAGA Sister mainly, just manipulating levels and just being able to bust out whatever Xyz is needed. It's a really fun concept. I love the idea behind it, and I just really wanted to try it out. I think it was some point last year, and yeah, it's just great for me because I'm a fan of Yuma and his monsters. I mean, he's not my favourite Zexal character, but he is a favourite, and yeah, the GAGAs are just his most recognisable monsters, well, besides the Utopia monsters, that is. And it's just a lot of fun making pretty much any Xyz I want. Problem is the lack of space in the extra deck. There's not enough room to fit in all the cool Xyz monsters I want to play. So yeah, it's not just heroes that have that problem. But I absolutely love this deck. Number 39 is Anime Dragon, formerly known as Hopeless Anime Dragon. I'm sure long-time players will remember the deck Hopeless Dragon, which was a pretty cool deck that popped up now and then from 2008 to 2012, although unfortunately that deck just died when Future got banned and Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon got limited. But during that time it looked like such a fun deck to play. I've never played that specific build myself, and then in 2010 I watched a video done by Umbreon from the Shadow where he made a Hopeless Blue Eyes deck, which I really liked, and this wanted to make me have a go at playing some kind of Hopeless Dragon deck myself, so I thought I'd take it one step further and base it on obviously dragons that appeared in the first 3 animes. Obviously I couldn't fit in Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon, or the Armed Dragons, because they don't really work in the deck and would just clog it up. Well, maybe the Armed Dragons would, but then I'd be playing too many cards, and it was a great deck and it worked so well actually, and just it was a ton of fun just being able to bust out Blue Eyes White Dragon or Red Eyes Black Dragon and just go for pretty much any of the Signer Dragons. I was about to say, well, almost, but yeah, obviously we didn't have Lifestream Dragon yet. I did play Power Tool Dragon. Excuse me. Problem is that it would clash with Totem Dragon, which I played in the deck. Because for those who don't know what Totem Dragon does, if all the monsters in your graveyard are dragons, you can special summon it during your standby phase, but banish it when it leaves the field. Oh, and it counts as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a dragon. So there is that fear that it wouldn't work if I summoned Power Tool Dragon, but that never popped up. Yeah, it was just a ton of fun being able to do that. I did stop playing it though, like later on that year, but it was fun while it lasted. But playing a hopeless variant of it would be a bit difficult, like after the September 12th ban list, but that didn't stop me rebuilding the deck later on in the best way that I could, and just simply renaming it Anime Dragon. It still worked quite well, but just would have been better before those big hits. Number 38, Gemini Hero. This was a cool hero deck as well. It's running generic elemental heroes and Gemini monsters, including Neosadius, of course. Now this was something I didn't come up with. I actually first encountered this deck at a Milton Keynes logo. No, not. It wasn't Milton Keynes. It was Bedford. Yeah. Yeah. I once went to a Bedford tournament in early 2010, and encountered a guy playing Gemini Heroes. I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. Yeah, it really was. It was just amazing how well it worked as well, and I was just in awe. And then later on in the year, I decided to build the deck myself. Yeah, it ran quite well. It was pretty cool. I kind of got a bit awkward to play later on, I think, because of Stratos getting banned later on and just trying to play other things. I can make it work fairly well now, but it's still not easy to do. But nevertheless, it's still an awesome deck. And this is the closest I've got really to playing some kind of Gemini deck. Love the concept of Geminis as well. Number 37, Light Rays, a deck that I wanted to make for many years, but only just did it 2 years ago. I love the idea behind those. An archetype full of light counterparts of well-known monsters. I mean, lots of dark counterparts came along in 2008, so I like that 4 years later some light ones came along, which was just awesome. Unfortunately, there's only 6 monsters in the archetype, and rather annoyingly, just like Legendary Knights, it needs light swarms to be able to make the deck work, otherwise it just doesn't. It's the best way to just get lots of light monsters in the graveyard and set up for Diabolos and Daedalus. Plus I needed a way to get 3 of my light monsters banished to bring out Light Ray Sorcerer. But of course, like I said, I don't like Gearfried because it's a dark bribe on legs, whereas Light Ray Mador is well, too defensive. I mean, it doesn't really do too much besides give me a wall. And like I've been saying, this is an archetype that I think deserves a lot of support. I really want to see it get new support and make it so that I don't have to rely on light swarms. Plus, I want to see more Light Ray counterparts. I mean, like I said, I want to see a Light Ray version of Dark Magician, which would be cool. And yeah, you could argue that Mahad is technically a light counterpart of Dark Magician, but I'd still want to see a Light Ray version of him, and I'd love to see a Light Ray counterpart for Rainbow Dragon as well. One of my all-time favourite dragons, because it's already got 2 dark counterparts, Rainbow Dark Dragon and Malefic Rainbow Dragon, and I'd love to see a light counterpart, even though Rainbow Dragon is a light monster already. And again, this deck is bricky and inconsistent, but it's just so much fun. I love setting up for the light rays and just bringing them out and doing cool things. Number 36, Galaxy Photons, another of my favourite Zexal archetypes. I mean, Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon is one of the coolest boss monsters in the game. It's so awesome, it's very easy to bring out, and just gets added bonuses if it battles and banishes an Xyz monster. Yes, the card by itself is just basically an anti-Xyz strategy, I guess, even though the archetype is an Xyz archetype as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun just bringing this guy out and just overwhelming the opponent in some way or another, like, provided of course I don't use it to make a rank 8. It's a lot of fun. The problem is, though, recently, just like my Destiny Heroes and my Divine Neos deck, I ended up getting a bit bored of playing them, because I feel like all I seem to do is just bring out this and some other level 8s plus Afterglow, and then just win too easily with Prime. It's something I actually feel bad about doing. I don't really want to resort to doing that, because it's just boring and too easy to do, but a lot of situations just called for it. That's why I've not really been playing it much lately. But regardless, it's still one of my favourite decks of all time, and still worthy of being in the list. Number 35, Rockets, one of my favourite Brains archetypes. Like, Rockets are just awesome. It's just really a cool link spam deck, just setting up for good link monsters, including the Nightmares or even the Boral monsters, like including Boral Dragon and Boral Sword Dragon, two of my favourite link monsters. Plus, it's really fun to try and talk like Revolver as I'm doing it. Just going, Special Shogun, Magna Valet Dragon, Unsubbed Dragon. It's just hard to not want to do that, just like when I talk like Pegasus when using tunes. Yeah, they're just so much fun. I mean, they are weaker versions of Yangzings, but it's still pretty good, and it actually got better over the years. Yeah, generally it's just a lot of fun setting up for Borrelode and Boral Sword, which has put opponents in a pickle sometimes. I remember it being a problem when I faced Endymion and Plunder Patrol, as Medusa couldn't halve Borrelode's attack, and Moak couldn't banish Borrelode. It's just great. I mean, like, even though Borrelode doesn't see as much play as it used to, it's still an amazing card, which yeah, people still get stuck behind nowadays. Now, one person I know did express some hate for Rockets for some reason, but I don't really understand why. Like, what's wrong with Rockets? I mean, like, it's like I said, it's just a link spam deck. I mean, all they do is just set up for a bunch of link monsters. Like, it doesn't OTK, and it doesn't lock the deck down in some way or another. Like, I'm not doing anything to stop you from being able to play. I think the Rocket hate is just unfair. like even in the earlier days when people would call them crap, even though there's no such thing as a bad deck. I feel, but nowadays I feel like whoever's hating on rockets is probably getting confused with Dragon Link. I mean, no disrespect, but that's what it seems like, but that's completely different. Like, literally, all I'm doing is just playing a pure rocket deck for the fun of it, and again, not doing anything to stop the opponent from being able to play. Just saying. Number 34, Plant Heroes. Another hero deck that is just so much fun. I came up with the idea for this deck back in 2010 because I did notice that Nosp and Poison Rose don't see any play. I mean, sure, they're not the best hero decks, but they're still cool and fun, and I built Plant Hero just really as an excuse to play Nosp and Poison Rose in a deck. I really hate it when my battery dies while I'm doing a video. But yeah, anyway, Plant Heroes. So yeah, it wasn't too great to start off with, but over the years it just kept getting better. I found various ways to improve the deck. I even threw in the Predaplant Fusion engine, Scorpio, Darling Cobra, which makes sense because I did play Lone Fire Blossom in the deck, which is awesome and all good. It's also quite fun getting multiple copies of these out so that neither of them could be attacked and they could attack directly. And it would be a bit more appealing to do than bring out Poison Rose, which was a slightly bigger beat stick, but Nosp would just be more helpful. And if I'm not using it for its effect, I also use it for synchro plays as well. Summoning Twilight Rose Knight, special summoning Nosp, and then sinking a 6, which was awesome. And it's a deck that could use almost all the extra summoning methods. I don't think I played any links in the deck, I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure I did play Mrs. Radiant, but I can't remember for sure. And I did only play one Xyz, which is Breaksword, was best rank 3. But yeah, the focus still was fusions and synchro plays, as well as using the plant support to bring this guy out. So awesome. Number 33, Black Wings, which ended up being one of my favourite 5Ds archetypes. I mean, I wasn't interested in them at first, but then I gained some interest in playing them when I saw the Xylophone play them in his March Madness tournament back in 2019, and then I decided to play the deck myself, and they're actually just a lot of fun. I love being able to swarm the field with them, make some synchro plays, and just bring out Armor Master or full Armor Master, like the synchro version of Ultimate Falcon. I mean, I don't always go for it, but it's just really a necessity. Again, I just prefer going for Blackwing Armor Master, which is my personal favourite Blackwing, and it's just sad that that one doesn't see play anymore, since it's the original Blackwing Synchro Monster. Yeah, you could argue it's too defensive and that there are better plays to make with Black Wings, but I still like Armour Master, and I just want to have the option of going for him. In fact, for me, he's basically the Dark Magician and Elemental Hero Neos of the archetype. It's a level 7 2500 beat stick, which naturally I'm a fan of. Yeah, I love doing all the different things I can do with Black Wings. I'm still trying to work out how to incorporate the new stuff from Darkwing Blast into it. I don't have the deck in real life anymore, but I do still have it on Edo Pro, which I'm still working on because I'm not, like I said, I'm not quite sure how to fit in the newer stuff. Either way, Black Wings are fun. Love them. And sticking to the theme of synchro decks, this brings me to number 32, Speedways, which has kind of taken the top spot from Raid Raptors as my favourite Arc 5 archetype. Another YouTuber kind of got me interested in them, and I then decided I wanted to have a go at them myself. It's a wind machine counterpart to Black Wings, basically. I love, again, just swarming the field and getting out some cool synchro monsters, including Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, a synchro monster that I do like. I do prefer the other Dimension Dragons more, but I still like Clear Wing. He's awesome. But of course, this card, High Speed Droid Kite Drake, is the synchro that I generally prefer to go for and beat the opponent with. I mean, sure, Crystal Wing is better, but as it's a love-hate card, I tried not to rely on Crystal Wing too much. So I'll go for Kite Drake if need be. It's easy to bring out and has really cool effects, allowing me to either nuke the field or just be a skill drain for the opponent's monsters on the field. And it floats for a speed, well, not floats, lets me add a speed droid monster if it dies. It's really fun to get out. The other Speedways support cards that came out in Legendary Duelist 8 is pretty cool as well. Not Crystal Clear Wing though, he can get fucked. But no, all the others are really awesome, including the level 11 guy, which is a bit tricky to go into. Haven't used that one too much, but it's still awesome to go into and a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, that's really all there is to it. And finally, in at number 31, Yugi Gadgets. I've always liked the gadgets. I've played them since almost the beginning. Didn't play them at first, but then I decided to play them in like late 2007, early 2008, but combine it with Ancient Gears as I wanted the deck. I wanted the idea of the deck to be based on tribute summoning Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon by tributing to gadget monsters. Of course, this was more effective when Ultimate Offering was needed. Now, that's not really possible to do since that card is banned. But then in 2009, I came up with the idea of Yugi Gadget because I looked at these two decks in an issue of Yu-Gi-Oh! World magazine, and it had lists for two Yugi decks. I don't know if a reader came up with it or one of the guys who worked at the company that printed it, but it came up with a deck for Little Yugi and a deck for a 10. and obviously the little Yugi deck had gadgets, so that's what made me want to play it. And at first I threw in some other monsters that Yugi used, because why not? I threw in Summon Skull, Curse of Dragon and Buster Blader. I was sort of paying homage to the final duel of the original series, where Yugi and the 10 duelled. So that's what I wanted to go for. I think I've added Break of the Magical Warrior as well, and Marshmallow. So yeah, sometimes they could brick, but I did play Ultimate Offering at the time, and yeah, it was so good and just so much fun. I even remember taking it to a tournament and making top 8, which was awesome. But over the years, it did go for a few changes, but those changes just made it better. I mean, nowadays, I don't play those high-level monsters anymore, or Breaker, but it still has Marshmallow, why not? And later on I threw in Obelisk the Tormentor, because this ended up becoming one of 3 Yugi archetype decks that ran an Egyptian god. So this one would play Obelisk, Magnet Warriors would play Ra, and my Arcana Knights would play Slifer the Sky Dragon. But then the Arcana Knight deck kind of struggled, and it wasn't as strong as the other decks at the time, so I swapped Slifer for Obelisk in both these decks. But now, of course, recently, last year, the Arcana Knights got support, which made it better, and then they swapped gods back. But without Ultimate Offering, it was kind of hard to bring Obelisk out, but I have ways to do it. I've got Double Summon, I've got Stronghold the Moving Fortress, and the Monarch Stormforth. If I still had the deck, I'd put Change of Heart in. Maybe I should do that on my online build. Oh yeah, and then of course there was the addition of Gold Gadgets and Silver Gadgets, and Platinum Gadget. Then Gold and Silver then gave me the option of turning it into a rank 4 spam deck, which just made the deck even better. It was just really handy being able to toolbox into whatever rank 4 I needed, basically. Oh yeah, and Tin Goldfish helped as well. That made it even possible to make rank 4s that needed 3 level 4s. So you could go Tin Goldfish, effect, special gold or silver, effect, special one of the original 3 gadgets. And then I would turn them into either Stellar Knight Deltaros or Express Gaming's favourite number 32 Shark Drake. That is so fun and satisfying if I do pull that off. And yeah, that's it for this part. Hope you enjoyed, so stay tuned for part 4 when I count down when I count down 30 to 21. See you shortly. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Richician YouTube channel.